Chief Philip Ezebuilo Umeade, SAN, who was a former INEC commissioner, has gone to the Supreme Court asking the Apex Court to enforce or to ensure the enforcement of its judgments on Ugomba Uche Nwosu over who is the authentic governorship candidate of All Progressives Congress (APC) in Imo in the 2019 election. Chief Umadi, in appeal number SC/1384/2019, asked the Apex Court to ask INEC to withdraw the certificate of return given to Governor Uzodinma and give it to Chief Emeka Ihedioha, who is the candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). According to the white paper and Owerri-based tabloid, the latest legal move to unseat Uzodinma had come as a thunderbolt and had been filed since July 7, 2020, which Chief Umeadi brought under motion of notice in pursuant to Section 66A and Section 2871 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. With this latest legal developments, a related matter instituted by Barrister Kingdom Okere of the Reformed and Advancement Party (RAP) could be adjudged an appetizer if compared with the Umadi matter at the Supreme Court. The paper which has strong support for former Governor Okorocha and Chief Uche Nwosu wrote. Uche Nwosu, who is at the center of both Barrister Okere and Chief Umeadi's cases, have neither joined any of them, with the PDP joining the RDP matter last Monday. Chief Umeadi asked for an order enforcing an order whilst directing the enforcement and of giving effect to the judgment of this court in this case delivered on the 20th December 2019, wherein this honorable court, per Honorable Justice Amina Adamu Oge, JSC, made some findings. Chief Umadi stated that Chief Emeka Ihedioha, who was the candidate nominated by the third respondent and applicant and who scored the second highest number of votes after Senator Hope Uzodinma from the judgment of Supreme Court, which is Exhibit PDP 4, ought therefore to be issued a certificate of return by the fourth respondent and sworn in accordingly, adding that it will advance the cause of justice to grant the application, particularly as none of the parties will be prejudiced by its grant. Chief Umadi is therefore seeking an order that both the Action Alliance and the All Progressives Congress (APC) did not sponsor or feed any candidate for the governorship election held in Imo State on March 2019 in view of the double nomination of the appellant and respondent by the two political parties aforesaid and its subsequent disqualification as their gubernatorial candidates, as found by the Honorable Court in the judgments delivered on 20th December 2019, which is Exhibit PDP 3. Another directing the fourth respondent, INEC, to withdraw the certificate of return issued to Senator Hope Uzodinma, and order further directing the fourth respondent to issue a certificate of return to the gubernatorial candidates of the third respondent and applicant, Right Honorable Emeka Ihedioha, in the Imo State governorship election held on 9th March 2019 as the duly elected governor of Imo State, having scored the second highest number of votes in the said election sequel to the judgment of this court. In appeal number SC/1462/2019, Senator Hope Uzodinma and Ano versus RT Honorable Emeka Ihedioha and ORs deliver on 14th January 2020. An order directing that the said gubernatorial candidates of the third respondents and applicants in the Imo State governorship election held on the 9th March 2019, Right Honorable Emeka Ihedioha, be immediately sworn in as the governor of Imo State. According to the notice, the grounds upon which this application is predicated as follows. A. This Honorable Court found that the appellant and respondent was nominated by both APC and AA as their gubernatorial candidate for the Imo State governorship election held on 9th March 2019 and conclusively held that he was disqualified by the provisions of S 37 of the Electoral Act as amended for double nomination. B. That after the said election, the governorship candidate of the third respondent and applicant, Right Honorable Emeka Ihedioha, was returned by the fourth respondent as the winner of the election and consequently sworn into office. C. This that subsequently the return of the governorship candidate of the third respondent and applicant was challenged up to the dishonorable courts by one Senator Hope Uzodinma, who claimed to the be the gubernatorial candidate of all Progressives Congress APC. D. That this honorable court in its judgment delivered on 14th January 2020 exhibit PDP 4 appeal number 146/2019 Senator Hope Uzodinma and Ano versus RT Honorable Emeka Ihedioha ORS held that it was the said Senator Hope Uzodinma and not Right Honorable Emeka Ihedioha that scored the highest number of votes in the election and ought to be returned as the duly elected governor of Imo State. E. That by the clear terms of Exhibit PD3, the judgment in this appeal, neither the AA nor the All Progressives Congress fielded any candidate for the Imo State governorship election held on 9th March 2019, and as such, the said Senator Hope Uzodinma could not have been returned as the winner of the Imo State governorship election as a candidate of APC. F. The APC could not have substituted the appellant with a view to further nominating the said Senator Hope Uzodinma as their candidate because that right is not available to the party under the Electoral Act. G. That Senator Hope Uzodinma could not have been a candidate in the election as an independent candidate, as such right is not available to him. H. That the averments in paragraphs E, F, and G above flow directly from and are deducible from the conclusion and findings made by this honorable court in Exhibit PDP 3, which settled the rights of the parties, and I. That the third respondent and applicants PDP as the main beneficiary of the judgment in Exhibit PDP 3 Supra ought to enjoy the fruits of the said judgment, and J. That Right Honorable Emeka Ihedioha, who is the candidate nominated by the third respondents and applicants and who scored the second highest number of votes after Senator Hope Uzodinma from the judgment of this court, which is Exhibit PDP 4, ought therefore to be issued a certificate of return by the fourth respondent and sworn in accordingly, and K. That it will advance the cause of justice to grant this application, particularly as none of the parties will be prejudiced by its grant. Meanwhile, Chief Uche Nwosu has denied involvement in the latest court cases with regards to 2019 elections, warning the press not to associate him with the litigations. Okay, so this is going to be tough. This is really going to be tough. I'm sure the man is not having it smoothly for now, because for the fact that the Supreme Court says, oh, his judgment is final, but I don't know how. But a lot of these evidences are just there to bring him down. If really things will go normal the way it ought to go, because even from the Supreme Court judgment last time, one of the judges that formed the committee or the panel, told the world his position that there was an error, but because it is said or it is assumed that the Supreme Court judgment is always final, they would not want to reverse their decision. That is just the only reason they just say Uzodinma should continue. But in the recent, if you check everything, whether practically or technically, that is the judgment wasn't fair. It was one of the judges that said that, and And that is how it has been going. But some people do not really want to relent that this is injustice. But let's see how it's going to go, if really everything is going to work in their favor. But some people were like, oh, let them, they should just leave everything and move on. People have been advising Emeka Ihedioha to contest in 2023 if he really wants to come back, that instead of disturbing this man. I don't know whether you are of that you are in that position. Okay. The current Imo State debacle shows laziness that has come typify the apex court under Tanko. How could the justice have given judgment on a case without community consideration of all judgment relating to the subject matter, which is the governorship seat? If they had the legal implication of their judgment regarding Uche Onwusu, would have made them realize that they ought to reach a different conclusion on Uzodinma's case. It is a no-brainer as it is. Uzodinma was not the candidate of any of the parties that contested in the election and can't be the governor. Okay? The divine spirit of truth is in action in Imo State. If light goes 1 million kilometers in a century, it takes just a second to overtake it. I know that truth will prevail. So guys, let us hear your opinion concerning this. Leave your comments below and let's have your take.